This video I want to take a look at the Help to Buy scheme. The Help to Buy scheme is a scheme that's administered by the Revenue Commissioners, which helps first-time buyers or first-time builders to get on to the property ladder. Essentially, it's a clawback or a relief that you're given, a contribution or a refund of income tax and dirt tax that you would have paid in a 4-year period. So the maximum amount that you were allowed to claim under the scheme or to get relief for a contribution essentially from the Revenue Commissioners towards the purchase of your house was 20 grand, but that was increased in 2021 to 30,000 euros. So the maximum you can get is 30,000 euros, and the aim of the scheme is to help first-time buyers or builders get onto the property ladder. Who can apply? You must be a first-time buyer, you must be tax compliant, you must live in the house for 5 years after purchase or building, and it must be your first purchase. What type of property? It must be a new property, can't be second-hand, and it must be a property that you're going to live in as opposed to a buy-to-let or an investment property, and it must have a maximum purchase price of 500,000. That is the limit. How much can be claimed? As I said, it was 20 grand, maximum of 20,000. That has been increased to 30,000 or 5% of the purchase price or the amount of income tax and dirt tax that you've paid in the previous or in the 4 years prior to the application. It's the lesser of those three figures. So it's the lesser of 30 grand or 5% of the purchase price, or the income tax and dirt tax that you've paid in the 4-year period that you choose for the purpose of your application. In order to apply for your Help to Buy grant, as it were, you must do so on the either on the My Revenue portal or ROS, that's the Revenue Online Service, and obviously you apply through the Revenue Commissioners. There's two stages to it. There's an application stage and there's the claim stage. So the application stage is you making your application and showing that you're tax compliant and showing what your tax payments have been, how much tax you paid in the 4-year period that you've chosen, and so on. The claim stage then will involve, after you have signed a contract to purchase a property or for the building of it, you upload the contract, and you're supposed to upload a copy of the mortgage document as well, but quite frankly I haven't found that necessary. It seems to me that it's sufficient just to upload a copy of the contract. So basically you sign the contract in duplicate, you return it to the builder or vendor or solicitor, you get one copy back, and then you ask your solicitor for a copy of that, and your solicitor can send it to you by email or PDF, and you can upload it then to the Revenue website and you can complete your application. You'll get a claim number then, or a claim reference number, and you'll need to give this number and I think it's an access code or a passcode or something to your solicitor, who in turn then will give it to the vendor or builder solicitor, and the vendor solicitor or vendor or builder will draw down the funds directly from the Revenue Commissioners. It's my experience that most vendors, most builders will allow you to use the Help to Buy as a contribution towards your deposit. So when you're paying the deposit, let's just say your deposit is 30 grand and you've paid a booking deposit of 5 grand. So your contract deposit that you must pay when you sign the contract is 25,000. Most builders, most vendors will allow you to take into account the Help to Buy money that you are entitled to. When, and I forgot to mention this, when you actually apply to the Revenue in the first instance, make your application for the Help to Buy, you will get a statement from Revenue setting out exactly how much you are entitled to, so you'll be able to factor that into your calculations and into your cash outlays and so on. There is something that you need to be aware of, and that is that the Revenue Commissioners do have the power to claw back the grant if certain conditions or in certain circumstances. For example, if you weren't entitled to it in the first place, or if you cease living in the property for the 5 years succeeding, or you did not complete the transaction to purchase the property, it would be possible to actually draw down the grant and then not complete the sale. I've never seen it happen, but I suppose it's theoretically possible. And the final situation where there might be a clawback is where you would have got the grant for the purpose of building a property and you haven't completed the property, you haven't built it essentially. Hope you find this video useful. As the Help to Buy scheme, I come across it every day of the week, quite frankly, with new first time buyers and so on. It's a really good scheme if you're a first time buyer. It's a real leg up on the ladder, and it's obviously contributing, I suppose, you might argue, to a certain extent to house price rises and so on and so forth. But I mean, if you're a first time buyer and you want to buy a house and live in it and get onto the property ladder, then you know, when the revenue commissioners are giving you some sort of a clawback or some sort of a grant essentially towards the purchase of your property, it's not a bad day's work. Hope you find the video useful. If you do, I would appreciate if you gave it the thumbs up down below, and you may be interested in subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you are, just hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Thanks a lot.